Claire hadn't stepped inside her grandmother's house since the funeral. The silence of the place frightened her more than she cared to admit. Growing up, the old Victorian home had been a sanctuary, a labyrinth of lace curtains, shelves stacked with porcelain figurines, and the faint smell of lavender and old paper. But now, without Elizabeth's warm presence, it felt like a museum of ghosts. It was late October when she returned. The air carried the scent of wet leaves, and the roof groaned under the rhythm of rain. Claire had come with the intention of sorting through belongings, boxing up clothes, maybe donating furniture. She told herself she was ready, but as she turned the brass doorknob, the memories struck harder than she expected. Upstairs, the attic waited. It had always been forbidden territory in her childhood. Too dusty, too cluttered, Elizabeth used to say. But curiosity, and perhaps something else, tugged Claire toward the narrow staircase. Each creak of the steps echoed like a heartbeat. The attic was exactly what she imagined. Stacks of yellowed newspapers, trunks with rusted locks, and quilts folded neatly in moth-eaten boxes. She ran her fingers across an old rocking horse, its paint chipped and eyes dull. And then she saw it. A torn corner of an envelope peeked out between the slats of a cedar chest. Claire pulled it free, brushing off dust. The paper was brittle, almost translucent with age. On the front, written in elegant ink, "For E." She hesitated. The house was so still she could hear her own breath. Finally, she unfolded the letter. "My dearest, not a day goes by that I do not think of you. We live in two different worlds, but my heart belongs only to you. If fate is merciful, someday we will no longer have to hide." There was no signature, just the longing in the words, suspended across decades. Her grandmother? Elizabeth? Claire's hands shook. She read the letter 3 times, trying to imagine who had written it and why it had been hidden.
The next morning, Claire brewed coffee in the cold kitchen, staring at the letter lying on the counter. Her grandmother had always been the picture of grace and composure, married for over 50 years, devoted, respectable. This didn't fit. Driven by questions, Claire searched through closets and drawers. In the bottom of a cedar box, she found a leather-bound diary. Its pages were filled with neat cursive, each entry signed E. Most were ordinary reflections: baking, tending the garden, sewing dresses. But scattered between the lines were fragments that set Claire's heart racing. April 3, 1952. We met by the river again. His eyes still carry the storm I fell into all those years ago. How cruel it is to live between truth and duty. June 14, 1953. Nathaniel says he will write. I fear the world will not allow us to exist together, yet part of me still dreams. Claire's pulse quickened. Nathaniel, the mysterious N. She needed answers.
The local historical society held archives of town life dating back a century. Dusty binders, stacks of photographs, faded newspapers. Claire spent an entire afternoon combing through records. At last, she found what she hadn't known she was searching for: a black-and-white photograph. Her grandmother, Elizabeth, stood in front of the old hospital in a simple nurse's uniform. Beside her was a tall young man in military dress. His smile was lopsided, his eyes bright with something unspoken. The caption read, "Captain Nathaniel Stevens and hospital volunteer Elizabeth Monroe, 1944. Claire touched the glass of the photo, as if she might reach through time. So he was real. Nathaniel existed, and he loved her grandmother. But what happened to him? Claire couldn't stop staring at the photograph of her grandmother and Nathaniel. She enlarged the newspaper clipping on the archive scanner, searching his face for details. The proud angle of his jaw, the way his shoulder brushed against Elizabeth's, as though even the camera couldn't keep them apart. On the back of the photo was a short note in fading pencil. Summer, 1944. Before everything changed. Claire whispered aloud, "Changed how?" That night, sleep evaded her. The rain outside tapped against the window as if echoing her own restless heartbeat. She dreamed of a young Elizabeth laughing in the hospital garden, a man's hand brushing hers before vanishing into the shadows.
The following day, Claire sought out Mrs. Whitman, one of the town's oldest residents, who had been a close friend of Elizabeth in her youth. The elderly woman welcomed her with tea and a knowing smile. "I wondered when you'd come," Mrs. Whitman said softly, as though expecting her. "Your grandmother kept her secrets well, but she was never as unreadable as she thought." Claire's breath caught. "So you knew about Nathaniel?" Mrs. Whitman set down her cup with trembling hands. "We all did, or at least we suspected. He was a good man, brave, came back from the war with scars you couldn't always see. Elizabeth, she loved him, that much was obvious, but she chose stability. Your grandfather was safe, respectable. Families in those days didn't forgive women for following their hearts." Claire asked, almost pleading, "Did they ever see each other again?" Mrs. Whitman's eyes clouded. "I believe so, briefly, but choices once made have a way of closing doors forever."
Back in the attic, Claire tore through trunks with renewed urgency. She was certain there had to be more. And then she found it. Inside an old poetry book, tucked between 2 pages, another envelope. This one was dated 1956. Elizabeth, I cannot pretend any longer. Life has taken us down different roads, but I'd eyed myself at every turn thinking of you. I am not asking you to leave what you have built, only to remember that somewhere in this world there is a man who loved you beyond reason. If you should ever feel caged, know that my heart will always keep a place for you. Nathaniel. Claire's eyes blurred with tears. This was no fleeting romance. It was a lifetime of longing. The discovery gnawed at Claire. In the quiet of her apartment back in the city, she compared her own life to her grandmother's. She thought of David, the man she was dating, polished and practical, adored by her parents. He was safe, respectable, exactly what Elizabeth's husband had been. And then there was Michael, the artist, unpredictable, passionate, infuriatingly alive. Whenever Claire was near him, the world felt sharper, brighter, as though her skin remembered something her mind had forgotten. Her grandmother's silence across the years now spoke louder than words. Claire feared that if she followed the same path, she too would end up with a life neatly folded away, with her true desires hidden in the attic of her heart. At dinner with her parents, Claire broke the silence. I don't think David and I are right for each other. Her mother frowned, setting down her fork. But he's everything we hoped for you. Solid, reliable, you'll have a good life together. A good life. The phrase echoed with the dull thud of compromise. Claire whispered, almost to herself, Grandma once had the chance for more. She didn't take it. I can't make the same mistake. Her father looked puzzled,
But her mother's eyes flickered with something else. Understanding, maybe. Even recognition.
Weeks passed, and Michael reappeared in her life. He invited her to his gallery opening, and as she stood, surrounded by vibrant colors and canvases dripping with emotion, she realized this was the world she wanted to inhabit. Not beige dinners and polite small talk. Life in all its rawness. When Michael asked her, "Why are you here, Claire?" she answered without hesitation, "Because I don't want to keep hiding what I feel." On the first anniversary of Elizabeth's passing, Claire returned to the house. She brought with her a framed copy of the letters, placing them beside her grandmother's photograph. She whispered, "I heard you, Grandma. I won't waste my chance." The attic no longer felt like a tomb of secrets. It felt like a place of passage, where past and future shook hands. Claire left the house that day lighter, freer. She had learned the lesson her grandmother had carried in silence, that love, though risky, is the only choice worth making.